Hey guys, what's up? Adam the First Man here, doing a little truck video today. At least the intro. So, goldsmiths, jewelers, dealers, we're all scrappers. Now we're not we're not going to the scrapyard like with junk cars or you know, rusty old stuff, but we are scrapping precious metals. Every one of them. Anyone who says they don't, they're missing out. So, does it add up to much? It can. Um, it's one of those things that you have to be diligent, you have to pay attention, and leave no stone unturned. So, I'm going to show you guys around my shop today. I'm going to show you where all the gold dust hides, where all of the silver and platinum little tiny microns, where they end up going, and then how I retrieve them, and then what I do with them. So, what I do with them, I'll share at the end of the video. I'll show you all my little honey holes for gathering my precious metal dust right now. All right, Adam the First Man here. I'm going to teach you guys a little something about jewelers and goldsmiths. This is my bench. This is called the drop, or a drop pan, or catch tray. And this is where all the dust, you see the dust in there? That's all gold dust, silver dust, platinum dust, whatever project I'm working on, dust. And so it remains in here. When I do my projects, it catches all my dust. My bench pin right there, I already knocked that out of there, but those holes contain dust. I get it out of there. It drops into here, into my drop, and I sweep it up with my paintbrush. Now, we get a big pile like this, and it doesn't add up to much, but it's a little bit at a time. So that I'll scoop up, and I'll put it into a little container like this. Now this container is for my bench sweeps. That's what I will write on here. But it's, just all kinds of random items that have been in my bench that have maybe microns of gold dust. Just little microns, or silver or platinum. And after a while, you fill this up and, it's kind of heavy and there's a little bit of gold in there. Saw blades. Another, if I can open this with one hand while I hold this. Yes. Okay, come on. This is hard with one hand. Anyway, I break saw blades. It's just a part of the deal. Or they get dull. Here are my saw blade pieces that are in here. They contain small trace amounts of dust, precious metal dust. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, I sand and grind and sand and grind. And the sandpaper that I use contains, you guessed it, small amounts of precious metal dust. So when it's no longer usable, it goes into my sandpaper bucket. And, I have a fair amount in there, but I'll wait till this gets totally full and I can't fit any more in, and then I'll create another one. Okay, now even my burrs, these round burrs, I did a video the other day where a burr rolled off and stabbed me. These burrs, these little teeth, I use beeswax, and then that's a lubricant, and then I drill holes with these, and little bits of gold and little microns of gold and silver and platinum gets caught in these. So when the burr is no longer usable, I usually put them in my ultrasonic cleaner, which is hot. That'll melt the beeswax and the gold will fall into my ultrasonic cleaner. But even the dust here, okay? Yeah, it's dusty, all right. That's all dust from my shop. There could be gold in it, right? Or silver or platinum. Same with all these. When one of these bristle brushes gets used up, it'll get used again and I'll put it into a bucket that says used brushes or something like that. Here's the sandpaper drums that go into my sandpaper bin, and these little blue discs of sandpaper get thrown into there. Everything in here contains little microscopic pieces of precious metal dust. And then There's even some in here. You can see it on the black tray. These are extra gems that I've pulled out of things, but this dust is valuable. Other places on my bench get dusty too, like right here. Dust, look at it on my finger. It's kind of shiny, right? Precious metal dust that will collect. Now, even on the floor, you can see my worn cowboy boots, but I'm gonna get down on the floor. Now, it's dirty, admittedly, and I kind of keep it dirty because you know what? I sweep this up, and once I sweep all this dust up, it goes over here into the blue bucket. The blue bucket, this is everything I've swept off the floor or I've tossed in here that might have gold dust on it. You see the Fun Noodle right there? The Fun Noodle is actually, I have another one. It's right here. It goes onto my bench for me to rest my elbows on. But guess what? Dust gets caught in here and it goes into the blue bucket. Another place we scrap from, our polishing compound and dust and, you know, parts of our buffing wheels. It all gets sucked into there, but this stuff doesn't. This will go in the blue bucket for refining. Same with this side. And even these, this one I specify for 14 karat, this will go into... So when I'm polishing, all the little microns and dust gets sucked into here, and it goes into this dust collection machine. Now the front comes off of this, and there's little baffles with fabric that collect all the dust, and it drops down into a tray, and I can shake those and get all the dust out into the tray, and then in the tray goes boom into the blue bucket. Now I haven't done that in a while. I don't do it except for every few months because there's not a lot in there. Another spot to collect dust from is my soldering station. And yes, it looks like a mess because a lot gets dropped on here. It's flux, it's boric acid, it's denatured alcohol, and it all turns things funky colors and heat as well. So there are little pieces of solder in here I've dropped. There are little pieces of gold that's come off my soldering pick. There are just little pieces of gold and silver strewn about in here, or when I pour into my mold from this crucible, sometimes there's little pieces of gold or silver that end up missing and spilling over. And I'll sweep all this up and gather it up and put it into a container so we can refine it. And one maybe overlooked place is the jewelry ultrasonic cleaner. Now after I polish, it's full of polishing compound like you see on my finger. That goes in here and it shakes everything and gets all the dirt off, and it goes to the bottom. And when I need to change out my liquid, I'll gather all that dust with a paper towel. It'll smear around and I'll gather it all up, and into the blue bucket it goes because there's little tiny fragments and pieces of precious metals in it. And this part may be kind of embarrassing. This is my coffee mug. I don't know where I got it at some thrift store, but yes, when I'm working, I'm sure there's precious metal dust that gets into my coffee mug, so I'm probably drinking gold dust and silver dust and who knows what else. All these things, like my ball vise, these holes, I'll flip it upside down and dust will come out. We collect that. The top of my bench, like I mentioned before, dust. This thing has dust in it. This plant, although I'm not going to refine the plant, probably has dust in it. You know, just all the tools on the top of my bench collect dust from being in the studio. And that makes it so I can gather it up. All right. So now that you saw where I get all my precious metal dust from, here's what I do. You saw the blue bucket in the video. I place everything in that blue bucket. And then either a representative comes by and picks it up, or I ship it to a refiner. So mine that I use is one that I've used for years. It's a small family-owned company. The father started it. Now the son purchased the company and he owns it. And they're a small outfit that I really like doing business with. There's a refining fee. So when I send that in, they have a fee that I pay right off the top. They take that out of the price that they refund to me for the precious metals. So in my case, it's not that much, and it's well worth it. And you'd be surprised. So there's been times where I've torn up carpet. So okay, guys, like, there are jewelry stores that have been around for 80, 90 years, and sometimes they shut down and they've been in the same exact location. They will take the ceiling tiles out of the jewelry studio. You know, the drop ceiling, those gnarly looking tiles that I don't like very much. Those ones, they take those and they refine those. The carpet, all carpet removed, melted, burned up, and refined. They take everything. I mean, I don't know for sure, but they probably pull up all the flooring, or they do a diligent sweep and mop of that floor, and literally all the sweeps and all the mop dirt gets refined. I mean, after all, we're talking about gold, silver, and platinum here, right? So, but if you think you're going to walk into some store and, like, put some sticky tape on the bottom of your shoes and walk away with anything, it's not going to happen. We're talking microns of gold dust, and it accumulates over time. So it takes years. Some people send their stuff in once a year. Some people it's once a month. Some people it's once in their lifetime. You just never know. And you'd be surprised at what it adds up to. Not just the jewelry industry either. This also is in the dental industry. People with gold teeth or gold fillings or what have you. When those teeth get removed, you better believe that dentist is hanging on to that gold, right? Unless you request for it back and say, hey, I want that tooth because it has gold in it. Otherwise, they won't give it back to you, and they'll just put it in their scrap pile. And they may even have a policy where they won't give it back to you. I'm not sure. So whenever you see in my videos or any other jeweler's videos where they're cutting something or sawing something or grinding or polishing or filing or sanding, all that dust, you better believe they're collecting it, because it'd be foolish not to. It's literally every stroke of the file is, I don't even know if it amounts to any 1 penny or not, but if you do that enough times, you're going to accumulate some precious metals. So it's worth it. It's worth doing it. And the more volume you have in your studio, the more work you have, the more dust you'll collect and the more you'll gain in the end from the precious metals. But it's not worth anything as dust. It has to be refined, and that's an extensive process. There are other videos out there. A guy named Streetips, Streetips, that's his channel name. He shows how to extract the gold from the dust. He shows how to grow silver cell. I don't even know, man. It's really cool. The process is really cool, but it's extensive, and it takes special equipment and it takes special chemicals to extract the gold from whatever dust or whatnot it is. Even if you have like a 14 karat gold ring, it's 14 karat gold, okay? What that means, it's 58.5% pure gold out of the earth. 58.5%. A lot of times 14 karat rings will also be stamped 585. It's 58.5% pure gold. The rest is alloys. So the rest can be nickel, copper, silver, whatever, but it has to be 58.5% gold for it to be marked 14 karat. 18 karat gold is 75% gold. So it's 0.70 if it's inside of a ring, or it's just marked 18 karat. So it's 75% gold, the rest is alloys, and so on. So if you ever see a stamping on the inside that indicates the amount of precious metals in the ring, or in the pendant, or in the bracelet, or whatever it is. Now, sterling silver is 925. That's 92.5% pure silver. The rest is alloys. And I think it's alloyed with copper, if I'm not mistaken. And that simply is for durability. Silver on its own is very soft, just as gold is. So they add copper to it to give it a little more strength and wearability. But you can also have 0.999, 3 nines typically, fine silver jewelry, or other items like your coins and stuff. Your coins and stuff, those are all going to be pure. So when you're looking at the metals market and it says gold's at $2,750 an ounce, that's for 24 karat gold, pure gold. So your 14 karat ring is only 58.5% gold. Just remember that. If you go to trade it in or have someone purchase it from you, just remember it's not pure gold. It's 58.5% if it's 14 karat. So anyway, little lesson for you on that. But as the dust goes, all of it goes together. It gets all like chemicalized. I don't know what they do exactly. They melt it, they burn it, they throw chemicals at it, they extract the gold into this stuff called aqua regio, if that I'm saying that correctly. And then that gets re-solidified into gold through an electrolysis process of some sort. It's kind of extensive, guys. So I just choose to send mine in because I don't want to learn how to do all that. I don't want to have the cost of chemicals. And it's just, I love hobbies, right? It's just another hobby that I don't have time for. But my business is jewelry. So I create and repair and customize and do custom work. So I do engagement rings, wedding bands, earrings, all the things. And in all metals too. So I work in, I shouldn't say all metals, but I work in platinum, gold, all carats of gold, sterling silver, bronze, copper. I might be occasionally titanium. I'll order in rings of tungsten, things like that. So anyway, hope that is informational, informative, helpful. Maybe you learned something today. And just remember that gold dust, it holds value. Have a good one, guys. Adam the First Man. We'll see you on the next one.